Hi, I'm Sarah Cowgill, along with Andrew Moran, Dave Patterson, Graham Noble, and John Clark. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. In the last two elections, the kids under 25 have proven to be a crucial demographic that can cause a seismic shift in an election. And although that liberal mindset of peace, love, and harmony is life-sustaining, Joe Biden seems to be candidate non grata. So what do we know about young American voters leading up to election 2024? Being the youngest panelist, let's let Andrew give us the latest assessment on this wild card demographic.
Well, I don't feel like the youngest. I'm sure John is in better shape than I am and can take me on any day of the week. You know, I have back pain, I have heartburn, I have a headache, but nobody cares about that. You guys care about how about the state of young voters. So I would say that Liberty Nation has done a great job in recent days or weeks covering the younger voter demographic, particularly Smokin' Joe Schaefer and the lovely Lisa Donner. So here's a bullet point list that I gathered for all you fine viewers. First, Biden is underperforming with young people compared to 2020. More young voters are identifying as independents. Polls are showing Trump gaining ground with young people, which explains why he joined TikTok. Pew data show that 44% of people between 18 and 29 peruse TikTok to get their news fix. But according to Mr. Schaefer's reportage, you also see more young people disenfranchised in the system. 64% think America's in decline. 65% say nearly all politicians are corrupt. 49% think elections don't represent them. And 51% say the political system doesn't work for them. Now, I'm not surprised by any of this. You look at the economy out there, you have record student debt levels, you have growing credit card debt, high interest rates, the price of everything has skyrocketed. So you can't really fault any young people for feeling the way they are and trying to search for an alternative to the status quo.
Okay, so you mentioned TikTok and that's where young voters are kind of getting their information. Mm-hmm. So Graham, let's talk TikTok and how are the different camps using that social media platform?
To begin with, full disclosure, I do not use TikTok, never have, doubt I ever will.
I'm with you.
But I know how enormously popular that platform is. And by the way, I'm not one of these people who believes that the government should ban it, because I just don't think the government should ban anything, apart from maybe itself. Yeah, TikTok. Well, the interesting thing, of course, is that Joe Biden, despite the fact that Joe Biden has, I believe, signed a bill to ban TikTok, or they're working on it anyway. Joe Biden's campaign is on TikTok, and he's got I believe, a massive 355,000 followers. And Donald Trump recently joined TikTok, and within 24 hours, he had 3 million followers. So that's kind of interesting. But, it really, Donald Trump is, he's the showman. He's, even if you can't stand Donald Trump, you've got to admit that man was made for social media. Or maybe social media was made for him. He's very good at using it. And the reason why he's very good at using it is because he, the Biden campaign often uses social media to put out some just really nothing more than White House propaganda. And it's very straight-laced the way they say things, and it's very formal. Trump goes on social media and he rants and raves, and people love it. And even the people who can't stand him, they love it as well. And that's why he has such big social media followers. Even people who don't like him follow him on social media, just maybe so they control him or whatever. There is no competition, anyway, is basically what I'm saying. Between the two campaigns, there is no competition for the social media spotlight, because Trump always had it and he still has it. And also Joe Biden personally is not capable of going on social media and communicating directly with his voters or potential voters.
But he uses those social media influencers as proxies, because it's so annoying. It's so nauseating when I see him or I see these young kids, and some guys wearing white nail polish, and you have this other kid Dylan, Tom Disson or something like that, and they're praising Joe Biden, saying, "Oh, he's the greatest president of all time." I just want to throw up when I see those people.
Tell us how you really feel, Andrew.
campaign tactics aside, okay, so we're hearing that Biden is bleeding young voters, and I'm guessing that a lot of it has to do with Palestine is Israel. Let's take a look at that change in youth voters over time. Back in the 60s, 70s, it was all about Vietnam, but now we're getting a lot of young Hispanic voters closing in and starting to vote, and they don't favor Biden. Clark, what do you? Where are we going here? Where's Biden trying to go here?
Well, I think to flesh out some of the great information that's been provided here, I'd show a little bit of a different angle than our Canadian economist, even though I agree with everything he said. And I hope his health improves. Maybe a little more of our carnivorous diet would help. I had to do that. I had to say that. Eggs are a superfood. So, but aside from the obvious things of inflation and interest rates, these young people want to buy houses. They're looking at their future. They're looking at their bank accounts. They're looking at what they can afford at the grocery store. And you mentioned the situation with the Palestinians. That's hurting him as well. But another big issue is the border. And through my life, I've been educated by Hispanics over why it is that they support legal immigration. I got told off early in my life for supporting housing for people that were not U.S. citizens by
you
Hispanics.
socialist, you.
Well, I walked away. Don't punish me. It was supposed to be a big tent. I walked away.
Floridanomics 101, free housing.
Free housing for everybody.
I'm never confessing any of my past sins again here. But the point is, for that demographic, they believe in immigration. They believe in legal immigration. And interestingly, Trump won strong support from Hispanics in border states in the last election. His campaign has jumped on this right now. Both sides are fighting hard to get every morsel of the voting block that they can get. And they're chumming the waters now for these young Hispanic voters. And I think Trump's going to win on it because Biden's trying to do more of the, oh, no, you're better off under me than you were under Trump. And inflation is really not bad and it's down and you're making more in wages. And don't listen to that Trump guy behind the curtain. Listen to me. I'm your buddy. And if you don't vote for me, you're not Hispanic. It's not working anymore. Race card has worn off and young people can see through that. And they're looking at their wallets and their futures. And you can't use the social justice malarkey anymore. It's worn off.
That leads me to another part of why the young vote is a little bit in a tizzy and that people are struggling. And that is the when you factor in third party candidates. RFK Jr. has made the 270 threshold, the 270 electoral threshold so far. So mostly by July, he's going to be on the ballot everywhere in all 50 states. And that's going to be something that somebody is, I don't know if the young people like him, but I don't know. I think they would like him way better than they like the two old guys. What do you think, Dave? Did I get that wrong, Dave? You're looking at me like I got two heads.
The third old guy. I think the idea of individual voting demographics being diluted in any way, I think that's kind of mischaracterizing what's going on, quite frankly, Sarah. I think that the youth vote tends to have more polling power with third-party candidates. But that assumes, that without the third-party candidate, the youth vote would have gone to one of the traditional parties. I'm not sure that that's necessarily true. In the recent Liberty Nation news article that Andrew referenced, I think that Lisa had an interesting statistic, and I think it's worth noting that, on average, the youth vote turnout was highest, 57%. She cited that it had the largest increase over 2016 when the youth vote were nicely in their parents' basements and they automatically got a mailed vote ballot to them. On the other hand, where states had a much more restrictive vote by mail process, the youth turnout was an average of 42%, which was roughly 26% less. So the point that I think that you have to take away from that is that when the youth vote, the young people can actually be torn away from their Xbox controllers and come out of their parents' basements and go to the polling places. There are a few of them who really want to do that. And so consequently, what I'm thinking is going to be happening here actually is that contrary to the prevailing wisdom, as I said, but I've not seen any statistics that say the youth vote of likely voters will be greater than ever before, and that the greatest percentage of that vote will go to candidate X. It just seems to me that the youth vote will be a demographic like it has been in times past, without the aberration of COVID and the mail-in ballots.
But can you really blame young people for wanting to, entrench themselves in their parents' basements and just play the games that Dave likes to play, which I think is Call of Duty is his favorite Xbox video game. John mentioned this earlier. Housing prices are completely out of reach. You have record high median price, which is around $420,000. Then you have 7% mortgage rates. So you're pretty much your mortgage payment. I don't know how anyone on a typical wage can afford the average mortgage payment. Plus the other expenses for housing costs. Gasoline prices are up. EV cars are expensive. Real wages have been down to 2 or 3% since January 2021, and then median weekly earnings. But I'm going to avoid the economic talk right there. But overall, I can't blame young people for feeling the way they do, just because this isn't exactly a positive economic climate. Because remember, it's the economy, stupid, as the old man says.
It is this stupid economy, if you're Joe Biden. But well, now you all know about those crazy kids and what kind of ballot they may be holding in November. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform. YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, we're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. I'm your host, Sarah Cowgill. Thanks for joining us today. For free thinking, free speech, libertynation.com.